Hello, thank you for joining Tea with Tash. Today we're going to do a chicken casserole. I have washed my hands thoroughly and I have sprayed this because the casserole so far looks like that. I will be adding obviously flavourings and whatnot, but my partner doesn't like anything but the breast, so we're going to take the legs and the wings off, stick them in there. I love the skin, so I'm going to take the skin off, place that in there, season that, put that in the oven, and then when I feel like having, you know, wings on a dinner, and that's what I'm going to have. So I'm going to show you. My hands are clean. This is probably not the best way to do it, but I'm trying. So let me take... Right, I need to take this one leg off. That way, all I put into the casserole will be chicken breast, because my partner doesn't like anything to do with dark meat. So let's turn that over. Let's turn that over like that. And then that way, I can cut this over. Reason he doesn't like dark meat is because, you know, of the fat content in it. So I'm trying my best to fillet this. He is trying to give me backseat driving instructions, but I can't hear him. So what I'm going to do, right, that's one whole leg off. It'll go in there and I'll show you what I season it with. This next bit should be a bit easier to come off. I love skin, so I've got no problem with eating that. I'm just trying to take the carcass. I'm sure you guys have better ideas of how to take off these items. My knives are not that sharp, so it's quite hard for me to get the bone. But we're getting there. Right, here we go. That's another whole leg, well, thigh. That'll go there. Then now all we're doing is just taking off the wings. Just dislocate the wing there. There you go. That's the wing out. Like so. And then this one, I'm just going to dislocate, find the bone, dislocate the wing, and then cut that. Right, that wing's out. So that way the only thing that's going to go into the crock pot will be just breast meat. I don't mind the skin, so right. So now all this, I'm going to take all the skin off. That way all I'm putting in is just fresh breast meat, and he'll eat that with some nice cheesy mash later, which I will put up on a short to show you, you know, what it looks like. But right now I've cut off every piece of fat. I will just call my partner in for 1 second. Partner! Never mind. My partner's a bit busy, so I'll have to just do this myself. Alright, never mind. Okay. Right.
What?
That's your chicken breast.
Yeah.
That's going in there.
Yeah, big lumps, so.
That's coming off. Look, that's what's going to go in the oven and get cooked and go in there, okay? Look, I am taking this off, but you know,
Yeah, alright, right.
it does melt off. Oh my God. Right, as you see, he's very picky. So, right, the end of the carcass. Right, I've took off the end of the carcass now, where he was quite nervous about the meat. So, what I'm going to do is roast that with that lot, because you know you can get a lot from that. So now what we have is a beautiful breast. I will be filleting that breast as such, and then chucking it into my slow cooker. Let that cook for a good, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. Just going to slice the meat, but I'm also going to show you the seasonings that I put on the meat that goes into the casserole. I am cutting it into chunks now, so you know, as you can see, it's just breast meat. It shouldn't take that long, but I like my meat to fall apart, so I've done all that fillet. Hopefully I've done it correctly. I've got quite a lot so far, and then I will show you. Like I said, I'm not a butcher, so I don't know how to do this, but I'm learning, and you know, as long as it's breast and there's no fat, but I get all the juices from this carcass. So I'm going to put that carcass in the bottom. That won't be served to my partner, and then cutting these breast pieces into chunks. Right, and then I'll show you how I season that, and then I'll also show you how to season this to go into the oven, and make it all nice and crispy and flavorful and whatnot. So out of that whole chicken, that's the squares that I managed to get. Looks very nice. So let's get into seasoning. Don't measure anything, but let me wash my hands. I know I'm going to have to wash my hands about 40 times because I am touching raw meat. So I'm sorry if you can hear things going off in the background. I will pause my washing machine. Right, so on that chicken, we're going to put, don't have a lot of garlic left, so I do use my fingers because it's the best way to get things out. So as much garlic as I can, like so. Mix that in, and then also this one needs to be seasoned because this goes into the oven, but this is a bit easier. And then I'm going to add butter to the one that goes in the oven. Right, now we're going to have some MSG. Don't be afraid of MSG. It is not bad unless you're allergic, but it's a very good seasoning. And you know, whatever I'm putting on these scraps that goes into the oven, I am seasoning the other stuff the same exact way. So I'll show you. Right, this is the chicken breast so far. Right, that's the MSG and garlic mashed in. Sorry, it's not angled correctly. I'm so sorry about the angle. I thought my partner did it, but he apparently didn't. So I wash my hands again. Like I said, every time you touch raw meat, please wash your hands. Now we're going to put in some hot water into the slow cooker. Now I'm going to add a little bit of dark soy sauce. It's just for colour and flavour. And I'll add that on the chicken chunks as you saw. I will also add it up there onto the one that's going to go into the oven. Then we're going to go in with some, this is just plain type of seasoning. Put some over there and some over there. It just gives it an all around flavour and colour. And then if you have chicken stock, you're a better person than me. I don't. So I think I have a couple of cubes that I can make. So I'm going to put probably some dry oregano on top of this as well. I know it looks a lot, but it's going to be in there with, you know, over 2 cups of water. And, you know, food has to be seasoned. Unseasoned food, I don't understand how people cook that way. It doesn't make sense to me. But anywho, this is what's going on. So, as you can see, that's like that. I'm just going to do that again. Then I'm going to chuck that seasoned into the slow cooker, which is already got vegetables and potato in there. This will go into the sink. I'm going to wash my hands yet again because I touched raw meat. Right, so now I'm just going to see if I've got a bouillon cube. If not, if in doubt, you can always add gravy granules. It's not an issue later on in the cooking process. As you see, this is what this looks like. I will mess with that in a minute and stick that in the oven. Let me see if I've got any seasoning. I did have some seasoning cubes, but I don't know where they've gone. No idea where they've gone. I'm just still looking. Sorry that I'm not prepared. I'm never prepared, so trying my best. Right, I'm going to add 2 cups of boiling water to that mixture in the slow cooker, and then just to thicken it up, I'll add some gravy granules at the last minute because I don't know where my season packets are. So I'm going to eyeball this, put about 2 cups in. Need a bit more. It needs to cover it slightly. It's going to be cooking for about 4 hours. Right, let's get that going. Right, 1 second. Oh, for God's sake. Right, so as you see, that's done. This is all mixed around. Now I'm going to be using 1 spoon to mix it around. And then I'll show you what this looks like. There is a lot of flavour in here, and I am going to use the water with the other seasonings, with the other garlic, to get all that garlic goodness out. But yeah, towards the end I will add some gravy granules just to give it a bit of flavour. So I need to put on my list garlic, because that's what I desperately need. Right, that should be fine. That's going in the bin. Right, now I'm going to show you what this looks like before I put the lid on. And like I said, because I don't have the editing software, when it comes out, I will have to do a short and show you what that looks like. Right, you do want it to look like that. As you see, it's all been cubed, and you can see the water down there. So that'll cook down. There's a lot of flavours in there. It'll take about maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then what we'll do is we'll, cook it on top of a nice bit of cheesy mash. Now, this is what's going to go in the oven. This is what I took off the chicken that my partner doesn't eat. So I'm just going to go in again with my hands, which I don't really like touching the chicken, but things have to be seasoned. So that's seasoned. I am going to put some butter in here, just to make sure everything's nice and crispy, and then that's going to go in the oven at gas mark 6 for about an hour, just until it's all succulent. And actually I'm going to add a bit of hoisin sauce to this one. Right, so I'm going to do a bit of oyster sauce. It's going to be a Chinese, and then hoisin sauce, 2 tablespoons maybe of each. That's that done. And now we've got Chinese chicken. But that's what that looks like. That should cook perfectly. I'm going to wash my hands again. And then add some butter to it. So that'll be fine. Okay, 1 second. Sorry about the quality of this. I know it's terrible, but I am trying my best. We don't need any salted butter, so I'm going to go in with a couple of chunks of unsalted butter, just to give it, a bit of crispiness. So that goes there. That's another one. And then, like I said, I will show you on a short how they both come out. This one I'll be able to freeze, and then when I fancy, a Chinese meal with pasta, with thin noodles, and I can bring that out my freezer. And I haven't lost any of my chicken. I've utilized the whole entire chicken. So let's see, put a bit more Thai seasonings in here, and a bit of ginger. Not a lot of ginger. Right, that's that done. And then you need to obviously taste test it. Not a lot of people do. So I'm going to make sure it's flavorful. This will cook down. I'm going to take this out because this is going to have to go in there with that. Because if he sees any kind of meat, he just won't eat it. Right. That's done. That's perfect. So, this is what that should look like. So now I'm going to pop on the lid, let that cook for a good, 4 hours on high. And I've added that, so I'm just going to hide it underneath one of these and put this in the oven for approximately,